The rain tapped softly against the windowpane as I stared at the sealed envelope in my hand. It had arrived just that morning, with elegant handwriting spelling out my name. Isabel Fletcher. Inside was a formal invitation to the reading of my late father's will, set to take place at the old family estate in Surrey. I hadn't seen most of my family in years. Not since Mum died. Dad and I had grown distant, mostly because of the others. My half-siblings never really accepted me. I was the daughter from his second marriage, the outsider. I suppose that made it easier for them to ignore me, to pretend I didn't exist unless it was convenient. Still, I felt a lump in my throat as I packed my things. My 7-year-old son, Leo, watched curiously from the doorway. "Mom, are we going to see Grandpa?" I forced a smile. "No, love. Grandpa's gone now. We're going to say goodbye properly." He nodded, accepting the strange gravity of it in the way children often do. The journey to Surrey was long and grey, the countryside blurred by streaks of rain. As we arrived, the old Fletcher estate loomed large and cold, as if the past itself had taken root in its walls. My half-brothers Peter and Charles were already there, along with their wives, dressed in sharp suits and tighter smiles. My stepmother, Margaret, sat poised on the velvet armchair, a glass of wine in hand, as if it were just another dinner party. No one greeted me. We were led into the drawing room where a solicitor sat with a thick folder and a grim expression. He cleared his throat as everyone found a seat. "Thank you all for coming. Mr. Bernard Fletcher left a final will and testament, which I will now read." I braced myself. I wasn't expecting anything. Maybe a kind word, a book, or nothing at all. But what I didn't expect was the way they all turned to smirk when my name came up. As if the very idea of me being mentioned in Dad's will was laughable. Then came the line that silenced the room. "To my daughter Isabel Fletcher, I leave." He paused. And in that pause, the entire room leaned in. The solicitor's voice cut through the tense silence. "To my daughter Isabel Fletcher, I leave my share of the family estate, including the house, all its contents, and the land surrounding it. This inheritance is to be managed by her as she sees fit." A sharp intake of breath echoed from Peter and Charles. Margaret's smile vanished. I could see their eyes darting toward me, disbelief mixed with something darker, resentment. I barely heard the rest of the reading. My mind was a whirlwind of confusion and disbelief. The house, the estate, my father's legacy, it was all mine. But why? Why had he chosen me over them? Peter's voice broke the silence. This must be some sort of mistake. Dad wouldn't have left everything to her. She's barely part of this family. Charles nodded angrily. "We'll contest this will. It's not valid." Margaret gave a cold laugh. "He must have been out of his mind." I sat quietly, heart pounding, trying to steady myself. Leo tugged at my sleeve, whispering, "Mum, what happens now?" Before I could answer, the solicitor spoke again. "There is one more thing. Mr. Fletcher requested that his granddaughter Leo be given something special." All eyes turned to Leo, who looked both surprised and proud. "To Leo Fletcher, I leave a piano that has been in the family for generations. It is to be kept safe and cherished." I glanced at Leo, whose eyes sparkled with wonder. For a moment, the room softened, the tension easing slightly. But then, Peter sneered. "A piano? That's all? Pathetic." Leo's small voice surprised us all. "It's not pathetic. It's ours." A hush fell over the room. The power of those 7 simple words hit harder than any argument. The room remained silent, the weight of Leo's words hanging in the air. Peter's face twisted with fury. "This piano means nothing. It's just an old piece of junk." Charles stood, his voice rising. "We won't let you get away with this, Isabel. Dad's will must be challenged." Margaret nodded, her eyes cold. "You're not really part of this family. You never were." I clenched my fists, trying to hold back tears. But inside, a storm was brewing. I wasn't going to let them bully me. Not anymore. Leo squeezed my hand. "Mum, what if we keep the piano and find out why Dad left it to me?" The idea sparked a tiny flame of hope inside me. The solicitor cleared his throat. "There is a letter Mr. Fletcher wanted to be read after the will. Perhaps it will explain his decisions." He carefully unfolded the aged paper and began to read aloud. "To Isabel and Leo, my daughter and grandson. I know you have felt distant from the family, but you are more important than you realize. This piano carries a secret, a legacy that belongs to you. Protect it, and you will understand everything in time. A chill ran through the room. I looked at Leo, who seemed as puzzled as I was. Peter scoffed. Secrets and legacies. What nonsense. But I felt something shift inside me, a determination to uncover the truth, no matter what. After the solicitor finished reading the letter, the room was heavy with tension. Everyone's eyes were on me and Leo. I felt a mix of fear and curiosity swirling inside. What secret could a piano hold? Margaret whispered, her voice sharp with disbelief. Leo looked at me, eyes wide with wonder. Mum, what if Dad left something in the piano? A message, maybe? I nodded slowly, my mind racing. We have to find out. We decided to take the piano home. It was old with faded wood and worn keys, but it seemed to hum with a quiet power. That night, Leo and I sat together in the living room, the soft glow of the lamp casting long shadows. Leo pressed a few keys, and a melancholy tune floated out. Suddenly, a small drawer hidden beneath the keyboard clicked open. I gasped. Inside was a bundle of letters tied with a faded ribbon and an old photograph of my father as a young man, standing next to a woman I did not recognize. I pulled out the top letter, careful not to tear it. The handwriting was my father's, neat but hurried. My dearest Isabel, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer here. There are truths I could never say aloud, but I trust you to discover them. The woman in the photograph was someone important to me, a past I tried to forget. The piano holds more than music. It holds the key to understanding our family. Leo leaned closer. What do you think he meant by key? I smiled sadly. Maybe it's more than just music. As we read the letters late into the night, fragments of a story began to emerge. A story of love, betrayal, and sacrifices that shaped the family we thought we knew. But outside, the wind howled as if warning us that uncovering the past would come at a cost. The next morning, Leo and I were restless. The letters had stirred something deep inside us, a mixture of hope and dread. We knew we had to learn more about the woman in the photograph, but where to begin? I decided to visit the local library in Windermere. The building was old, filled with dusty archives and forgotten records. The librarian, Mrs. Fletcher, was a kind woman with sharp eyes who seemed to know every secret in town. I'm looking into my father's past, I explained. There's a woman in an old photograph, someone he mentioned in a letter. Mrs. Fletcher nodded slowly. Ah, you must mean Elizabeth Marlowe. She was a singer here many years ago. Beautiful and mysterious. Their story was whispered but never spoken aloud. I felt a chill. Do you know what happened to her? Some say she vanished without a trace. Others believe she left for London, escaping a secret. Leo leaned over my shoulder, reading the faded newspaper clippings Mrs. Fletcher showed me. One headline caught my eye. Local singer disappears amid scandal. I couldn't help but wonder if this scandal was the key to the family secrets my father wrote about. As the day faded, I returned home with Leo, clutching the letters and the clippings. The past was coming alive, but it was also pulling me into shadows I had never imagined. That night, strange noises echoed through the house. A piano note lingered in the air, haunting and unresolved. I hugged Leo close. We're not alone in this, are we? He shook his head. No. And I think someone wants us to stop. The next day, armed with the clues from the library, Leo and I returned to the mansion determined to search for answers. I carefully examined the study where my father had spent hours writing his letters. The room was thick with dust, yet something felt off, as if the walls themselves held secrets. I ran my fingers along the old bookshelves, tapping each book as if listening for a hollow space. Then, beneath a row of worn leather-bound volumes, I found it, a small, almost invisible latch. My heart pounded as I pulled it. A section of the bookshelf swung open, revealing a narrow passage leading into darkness. Should we go in? Leo whispered, his voice barely audible. I nodded, lighting my phone's torch. We stepped inside, the air thick with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. The passage opened into a hidden room. Dusty portraits lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow us. In the center was a wooden desk, scattered with faded photographs and letters. More pieces of the puzzle. One photograph caught my eye. It was the same woman, Elizabeth Marlowe, but this time she was smiling, holding a young child. My breath caught. Could this be the missing link? I murmured. Leo picked up a letter, his hands trembling. It's addressed to your father. And it mentions a secret that could change everything. Suddenly, a loud creak echoed from the hallway. We froze. Someone else was in the house. We barely had time to react before a figure emerged from the darkness. A man in his late 50s, with sharp eyes that flickered with suspicion. Who are you? I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. He narrowed his eyes. You shouldn't be here. This house holds secrets better left alone. Leo stepped forward. We're just trying to understand what happened to Emma. She was my mother, and this house belonged to her family. The man's expression softened for a moment, then hardened again. There are things about your family you don't know. Things that could destroy you. I felt a chill run down my spine. What do you mean? He took a deep breath and motioned us to follow him into the main hall. Your father was involved in something dangerous. I was his closest friend, but even I didn't know everything. He pulled out an old worn envelope from his coat pocket. This letter was meant for you, but your father never sent it. With trembling hands, I opened it. The words inside revealed a web of betrayal, lies, and a promise that was broken long ago. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because someone else is watching. And they will do anything to keep these secrets buried. A sudden noise upstairs made all of us tense. The house seemed alive with unseen eyes. We need to find out who else is here before it's too late, the man said grimly. The old man led us cautiously through the shadowed corridors of the house. Every creak of the floorboards echoed like a warning. Upstairs, the noise grew louder, footsteps pacing, a door slamming somewhere out of sight. We reached the study, where the flickering light of a single candle revealed scattered papers and an open diary on the desk. I picked up the diary, feeling the weight of the past in my hands. Leo whispered, "This must be your father's." I nodded, my eyes scanning the faded ink. Each entry told a story of desperation, regret, and a desperate effort to protect us from the consequences of his choices. Suddenly, the door behind us slammed shut. The stranger's face darkened. They've found us. Before we could react, the room was flooded with cold light. A group of men appeared, faces grim, eyes hard. You shouldn't have come here, one said. Some truths are better left buried. I clenched my fists. I want to know everything. No more lies. One of the men stepped forward, holding a small locked box. This contains the last piece of the puzzle. It's up to you to decide what happens next. Leo looked at me. Are you ready? I took a deep breath and opened the box. Inside was a collection of photographs, letters, and a key. The photographs showed moments from my father's life no one had ever told me about. His friends, his enemies, and a secret meeting in a rain-soaked alley. The key was old, ornate, and engraved with our family crest. Where does this key fit? I asked. The old man smiled faintly. There is one more secret hidden beneath this house. A place only your bloodline can unlock. With the key in hand, I felt a strange mix of fear and hope. The past was no longer a mystery. It was a challenge. We moved to the hidden door behind the bookcase. I inserted the key, and with a soft click, it opened. A spiral staircase descended into darkness. Leo glanced at me. Shall we? I nodded. Whatever lay beneath would change everything. The spiral staircase led us into a small underground chamber, dust motes dancing in the pale light from the single lantern hanging from the low ceiling. The walls were lined with old maps, documents, and portraits of ancestors long forgotten. At the center stood a sturdy wooden chest. With trembling hands, I opened the chest to find letters and deeds that proved my father's innocence and the truth about the family fortune. It had been hidden, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Leo smiled warmly. You've cleared your family's name. Now you can build the future you deserve. A sense of peace washed over me. The shadows of the past no longer haunted us. Instead, they gave us strength. As we ascended the stairs, the first light of dawn crept through the windows, bathing the house in a golden glow. I knew life would never be the same again. But for the first time I felt ready.